In this video, we have got a 100 plus kill game with the M250 LMG while playing on Manhattan Conquest. I'll put in the description down below all the attachments for this gun build, which you can see on screen right now. But without further ado, let's get straight into the pros and cons of this gun, then how you want to play with it, and of course what I am doing in particular on this map to do well and do good for the team. Straight off the bat, it's pretty hard to not mention the damage model of this gun, of which there is hardly any damage drop off, and it therefore has a consistent base damage value of 25. So what does this mean overall? It means a 4 bullets to kill, and with 100 rounds using this gun build, it means that you get a maximum kill potential of 25 kills per magazine. In terms of other pros, it has a rate of fire of 675 rounds per minute, which is a medium to high fire rate. It's not so high that it makes the gun's recoil extremely uncontrollable, but likewise is not so slow that it makes it very hard to use and win gunfights at close range against some of the more meta SMGs and assault rifles. In terms of bullet velocity, it has a bullet velocity of 950 meters a second, which is on the high end of bullet velocity. This therefore makes it extremely easy to track and hit targets at long range. And again, paired with a 25 base damage with minimal to no drop off, means it maintains a very high damage at long range and therefore a very fast time to kill at long range as well. Whereas with a lot of the other LMGs and guns in the game, you're of course going to drop off then to probably 6, 7 or even 8 bullets to get a kill at longer ranges. And lastly, in terms of a pro in relation to the reload speed, at least, at the time of me making this video, but it might be different for you at the time of watching this, the reload time for having the 100 rounds comes in at 5.75 seconds, which is still the exact same as when you have 50 rounds. So perhaps a mistake by the developers, which may be edited and of course fixed when you're watching this now, but at the moment I would therefore consider that a pro because there's no downside in terms of reload speed to go to the larger magazine size. Moving on to the cons of the M250, of course the con, as I've already just basically explained in the last pro, with regards to the reload speed, is that it does have a reload speed of 5.75 seconds. Now, regardless as to however much ammunition you have in whatever gun you're using in the game, 5.75 seconds is always going to be a slow reload speed, and it feels even slower in Battlefield 6 with much smaller maps, whereby you're encountering enemies more often and are therefore much more likely to die being caught out while reloading, of course with a 5.75 second reload speed. So that is more of a con now than it would be in any other previous game on larger maps. Additionally, in terms of the control stat on this gun, it comes in on the low end of the scale, ranging from 42 to 47. This is effectively going to mean that you experience a lot more bloom when firing in full auto and over longer periods of full auto. Luckily, however, in this current gun build, I have got 100 rounds on there, and as you can see, yes, you are going to miss quite a few shots because of the bloom, but with good positioning and pre-aiming, you have more than enough time to still rack up, 10 plus kills per mag, as you saw straight at the start of the game. And as you can clearly see, in terms of the gun build which I have gone for, which has no grip on the LMG, this is because there is hardly any vertical recoil on the gun, so much so that I was happy to sacrifice the points of having no grip to be able to use it elsewhere because the recoil was so minimal. So ultimately, you are not fighting against the recoil in this gun, you are instead fighting against the bloom, but with 100 rounds and improved accuracy because there's minimal vertical recoil, it's a small price to pay. Lastly, in terms of the cons on the M250, it's going to be probably the most obvious one in terms of the gun build, and that is going to be that it costs 55 points to be able to increase, or rather double the magazine size from 50 to 100 rounds. And that is effectively the main reason why I've not been able to go and put a grip on this gun. But I do think the jump up from 50 to 100 rounds is really important, because a lot of the LMGs in this game are really slow and are going to get outgunned if you try to play aggressively with them. Therefore, holding good positions and playing defensively with these guns is the way to go. And of course, with that playstyle, if you have got a good position which you are holding already, and of course already pre-aimed, then why not have larger magazine sizes to be able to take on larger numbers of enemies? You know, it makes sense. And I would also add into that, if you are playing defensively or just pretty much holding a good position behind cover, then normally with larger magazine sizes, you are going to have a slower reload. But if you are sitting away from where the enemies are going to be, behind cover, then you're able to pretty much factor in extra distance between yourself and the enemies, as well as being behind cover to be safe doing those longer reloads. Whereas if you're playing aggressively with the larger magazine size, with a slower reload time, then of course you're going to be at a much greater risk. Okay, so that pretty much covers the pros and cons of this gun. We've got about 5 minutes left now here of this video. So very quickly, what am I doing in this game, if it isn't already obvious, to be able to find the most amount of enemies and of course reach this 100 kill game while trying to be as effective as I can for my team. As you can see, in probably 50+% of the clips, I am pretty much patrolling all 4 entrances of C flag, which is the main flag directly at the center of the map. And of course, for the majority of them, I am on this side here, sat in between C and B flag, because it has this elevated position here, which you can get up to from that staircase on the right, with a pretty much perfect head glitch where you can mount a bipod or simply just mount the gun anyway to improve your accuracy. But in effect, and as I say in most other videos, C flag here, or rather the center flag of any map in the Battlefield games, is going to be the main hub where there's always going to be people there, whether that's your team or the enemy team. People are always going to be going there to capture it or to defend it, as well as simply running through that area of the map, through the flag to go to the other flags which are around the map. So if you are playing with an LMG, which you do want to play a bit slower with, to be able to take up good positions and effectively spend a lot more time shooting rather than running and trying to find people, this, in and around the center of the map is always going to be a good shout, with you therefore being able to pretty much stand still and the majority of the time be able to find enemies. And of course, in this particular game, with myself patrolling around the center of C flag is helping my team, one, to maintain the flag if we have got it, but more importantly, if the enemies have got the flag, this is going to be the main flag at the center of the map, which is closest to all the other flags around the outside of the map, and therefore this is going to be the flag which the enemies are most likely to spawn on, so that they can quickly get to the other flags that they want to capture. So again, is going to be the area I'm going to find the most amount of enemies, but it's also going to be the area where I can do the most damage and be most effective for my team to stop the enemies getting off the center flag to go and capture the other flags. And again, gives my team time to get from the flags around the map to come in and also capture the flag at the center of the map. And lastly, the final thing to sort of mention, yes, there's going to be 1 or 2 people watching this video now thinking, why don't you just run in on the C flag, and go and help capture it for the team? But that would go completely against the playstyle of using this weapon and being as effective as possible for the team. I would be putting myself at massive risk, in the majority of cases running on my own onto C flag, where there's 4 different directions which I've got to cover, with a gun which is going to get outgunned by most other guns at those close ranges, where I'll have a slower ADS time as well as a fire rate. So that again, the best thing I can do is exactly what I'm doing here in this clip. I'm basically clearing the flag and giving my team the advantage to run in on the flag and outnumber whatever enemies are left that I cannot see. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this video. Please smash a like if you've watched this far. There's 1 minute left, so I'll leave you guys in peace, and I will see you on the next one soon.